Welcome in, everybody. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Jeff Howe and Marcus Myers, former Longhorn football player. Guys, we have a commitment. Boom. Dylan Sikorski, a offensive lineman out of Warren, Washington, by way of Oregon State, has committed to the Longhorns as a redshirt freshman. He started 6 games for the Beavers, played in 8 of them at left guard, exclusively at left guard, and Texas does need some interior offensive line help. This is the first one, the first piece of that puzzle in this recruiting cycle or transfer portal cycle. Had a grade of 84 in pass protection against Texas Tech and 88 against Cal earlier this year, 2 of the better opponents that Oregon State played. Guys, this is the start of working on the offensive line. Texas also has another offensive lineman on campus currently. That is Mikey Bennett, an all Ivy League performer out of Yale. He's also considering Oregon at this time. Sikorski, who we're talking about right now, chose Texas over Tennessee, who he visited on Wednesday, as well as Missouri and Arkansas. Marcus, I'm going to start with you. Big guy on the interior, kind of fits what Texas needs, could be a real depth piece for the Horns.
Yeah, that was my thought, Bobby. Younger guy still hasn't, played a ton of snaps, but has gotten some experience and is someone that can be a depth piece with some of the exits that we've seen. And, that's certainly something you're going to need, a big body and someone that you can, continue to be able to mold and, potentially have some spot starts or even, opportunities to, contribute on the special teams, whether it's the field goal unit or what have you. And it's, we've talked about this, kind of new era of college football and how these lineups are shifting. And so, he's someone that, certainly can fill one of those roles that probably isn't the highest end of, what you would have to pay, but certainly someone that, can contribute and be expected to be a part of the program for a couple of years. So I think it's a big pickup. We've been asking for the offensive lineman, and hopefully this is just the beginning of what's to come.
Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, look, over 400 snaps, 6 starts at Oregon State, got a couple of, played some Power 4 competition. So, offensive line it's other than quarterback, to me, it's the toughest position in football to develop. So you've got a guy that at least has some big-time college football experience. When you're losing, look, you can say what you want about DJ Campbell and Cole Hudson as players. Those 2 guys played a boatload of snaps in their time at Texas. So I think it's the first piece of probably several pieces to the O-line puzzle, Bobby. And to get a guy, again, over 400 snaps, 6 starts, playing against some P4 competition, pretty good start.
Yeah, I think that you could look at this as instead of 2 or 3 offensive linemen, we might be thinking 3, 4, or even 5, depending on what the Longhorns decide to do. But Dylan Sikorski out of Oregon State is the first one. One thing that you mentioned, Marcus, is snap count. Dylan Sikorski played 444 snaps for Oregon State this year. That's roughly 420 more than Nate Kibble and Daniel Cruz combined from 2025. So it gives you an understanding of what we're talking about with on-field experience. Texas obviously pushing for this commitment from a young man that did visit Tennessee on Wednesday. Okay, there's more news to go over today that's been breaking. First, I want to say thank you to one of our key sponsors, and that is our friends over at Vonlane. If you are interested in traveling between Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, any major city in the state of Texas, make sure you check out Vonlane, vonlane.com. It's where you can hop on the bus just minutes from your downtown destination. Get on there. Go first class the whole way, 22 seats in all on a bus, and it is got Wi-Fi, snacks, drinks, anything you can imagine. They're even updating their Wi-Fi now to have Starlink across all its fleet, so that'll even improve the Wi-Fi that much more. But having done this before, it's a tremendous opportunity. Again, that is vonlane.com. Use the code OTF26 to get $20 off your first ride. Again, that is Vonlane, your private jet on wheels. No stress travel with vonlane.com compared to standing in that TSA line at the airport. All right, guys, I mentioned those other players that were visiting Texas today. I mentioned Mikey Bennett, the offensive lineman at Yale, or from Yale. He about 6'5", 310 pounds, I believe. Justin Cryer is a linebacker. We broke this news a little bit earlier on Texas football. Linebacker out of Florida State by way of Brookshire Royal in Texas. He is on campus right now as well, as is linebacker Cade Uluave out of Cal by way of the state of Utah in high school. He was on campus earlier today. We believe he may be taking an official visit to Michigan over the weekend. We are checking on that. Wendell Gregory also in line or has been visiting Texas. That's the defensive end out of Oklahoma State. We'll see where Texas ends up on that one. And then Texas has set up a visit with one of the nation's top portal prospects, Raheem Biles, a linebacker out of Pittsburgh that's already visited both Michigan and Colorado. Guys, Jerry, welcome in to you as well. Before we get to those players I just mentioned, hi for Jerry. Your thoughts on Dylan Sikorski and what you think it means to this Texas program?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he's going to be a really good pass protector. Is number one for Texas, and that's an area of struggle, right? A guy that has 6 starts for Oregon State, played pretty well in a couple of those games against the best opponents they faced. Still a young football player, but a good frame to him, 6'4", 325-ish. But a guy that I think is going to be a solid addition to Texas. Whether he competes and wins a starting spot or whether he's ends up being a backup player will be determined, right? That's what the competition's about. But I think from an offensive guard perspective, I like it because he's not a one-year guy. I do think you need to mix in some multiple-year guys out of the portal. So I think that makes it a good addition.
I do too, and I think that as we talk about all of these positions that Texas is going after, one player did enter the portal earlier today from the Longhorns. That's Kobe Black, the cornerback, the third year. He would be a third-year guy out of Waco, Connolly. Following the commitment of Bo Masco, the all Big Ten corner out of Rutgers, we knew there might be some breakup there of potential players entering the portal. It appears that Kobe Black has been that guy that is moving on from the Longhorns at corner. Jeff and Marcus, you guys have anything to say about the guys visiting Texas right now that y'all want to add to it? Marcus, linebacker, I mentioned Cade Uluave, Justin Cryer from Florida State, and then also Raheem Biles coming in tomorrow from Pitt.
Yeah, I think the Cal and Pitt linebackers are the stars of those 3, right? But when you talk about Justin Cryer, that's a guy that has played some ball at Florida State. Has had 87 career tackles, the bulk of which have come this year. He had 5 tackles for loss and even a sack, and so that's someone that could be again filling out some of that linebacker core. And ideally, love to be able to bring all 3 of them in with some of the attrition that you've seen. If you're not able to bring Bo Barnes back. It would be great, to have someone else like that in the fold. I know Jeff has, been looking at, some of the other guys as well. So, maybe I'll kick it to you for, your thoughts on maybe the Cal and Pitt linebackers.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, Jeff. That's you.
Yeah, I was just say, Rasheem Biles and Cade Uluave, it's interesting. Michigan and Texas have been after both guys. So it seems like we've had a lot of that early in this portal window. But, it could be a deal where, hey, maybe one ends up at Michigan, one ends up at Texas, but you're getting 2 guys. Again, Cade Uluave, over 100 tackles, 12 tackles for loss. Rasheem Biles, same deal, over 100 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks. We've been saying it. We've been hammering it home. Even though I think Ty Anthony Smith is going to be really good in Will Muschamp's defense, because of the depth at that position you need to get through an SEC schedule to make a playoff run, I think you've got to come out of this portal cycle with 2 guys that you deem are starting caliber linebackers.
Jerry, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want to add this. For those that missed Coffee and Football this morning, Rasheem Biles is absolutely one of the best playmakers, defensive players in college football. That's the one thing I want to put out there. He's the first guy in 18 years to have 15 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and score a touchdown in a game. I mean, that's 18 years. I mean, he is a playmaker. He's had 10.5 sacks the last 2 years. He's had big interceptions for Pitt. A guy that's originally out of Columbus, Ohio, came out of high school a little bit undersized, but a heck of an instinctive player. Just makes big plays. And I think Cade Uluave, I think he had 19 or 20 tackles against Virginia Tech this year, all ACC guy. And look, I want to say this about Cryer being on campus. kind of what I think he would be if he ends up at Texas. His brother, LJ Cryer, was the standout guard for the U of H basketball team. And is playing professionally now. But I think, though, look, on Cryer, I would say this. Uluave and Biles are obvious. I mean, they're all conference players out of the same conference, by the way. I think with Cryer, in Muschamps 3-4, he needs a guy that's a singular focused thumper inside backer, right, Marcus? And I think that is where he would fit, is in that role. And then I think you work, because you're not going to ask him to roll over and be a hangover guy on the overhang linebacker. That's not what he's going to be. He is strictly an A-gap, B-gap player for you, and that's what you'd be asked to do at Texas if he ends up there. A lot of people have him pegged for Houston, to go to Houston. We'll see. But I'm sure Houston doesn't like that he's visiting Texas right now. So I think that all three of those linebackers are different. I think Uluave is an inside guy. I think with Biles, even though he's a little undersized, and when I say undersized, he's 6'1", 220-ish, 225. I think he's a guy you can actually move around a little bit. I think he's got a knack and talent and instinct for rushing the passer as well.
All right, other news that we talked about this morning, Jerry, as well, on Texas football. Zina Umeozulu, the defensive end out of Allen, put his name into the portal yesterday morning. By yesterday evening, I'm told Texas and Zina reached agreement on a new deal. That being said, I do not know if the ink is dry on that agreement. So that is good news for the Longhorns. Jerry, Texas now with, I believe, 5 commitments outside of those specialists. Raleek Brown, the running back out of Arizona State. Dylan Sikorski, offensive lineman. 6. Michael Masunas, the tight end from Michigan State. And then the 2 defensive linemen, Ian Giffard, Zion Williams, and then defensive back Bo Masco. That is 3 commitments, by the way. Sikorski makes it 3 commitments in the last 24 hours with the Longhorns, alongside Raleek Brown and Zion Williams. There are more guys on campus. We expect more things to happen here in the not too distant future. We're going to also take y'all's questions now a little bit. I know a lot of people want and have additional questions to what we're talking about. One of the guys that went into the portal today, that is big news, Trevor Gentry. Justice Haynes, the starting running back at the University of Michigan, has gone in the portal. Is that somebody that Texas might be interested in? Jerry, you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, look, tremendous football player, first of all, was really good coming out of the Atlanta area, went to Alabama, transferred up to Michigan, had a good year. It's kind of one of the 1-2 punch with Jordan Marshall at running back out of Michigan. Neither one of those guys played against Texas. If you didn't get to see Michigan this year, Haynes played, he played against Oklahoma. He played against everybody else. He did not play against Texas. Look, I think there's some wild rumor numbers being thrown out about what he wants from an NIL perspective, and I call them wild rumor numbers for a reason. I mean, people are throwing out $2.5 million. That's not even realistic at the running back position. So I wouldn't go. If you see any numbers being thrown out on social media, I wouldn't believe that. But I think he's a guy Texas should absolutely pursue. He's a future NFL running back, a future NFL draft pick. And I'm not saying he's going to go be an all-pro or anything, but he does have a place in pro football. Very instinctive runner, runs tough, has good leg drive. He rushed for 857 yards this season. He's 5'11", 210, 215. And look, he had 857 yards. He only played in 7 games. He had 6 of those games were 100-yard plus games. He had 19 for 125 against Oklahoma, 149 Nebraska, 117 Wisconsin, 152 against Michigan State. So scored 10 touchdowns on 121 carries this season. Very talented back that now is, for his career is in the 1,400, 1,500 yards rushing. He's a guy that puts the ball in the end zone inside the 5, inside the 10-yard line. He knows how to score the football. He has that lean.
Corey J says Justice Haynes is in the portal, would like for Texas to go after him. It would be a nice 1-2 punch with him and Raleek Brown. Could be. We'll see if the Longhorns go there. Good question here, I think, because we mentioned it a little bit, S Contractor. Is this OL better than Nate Kibble? I don't know 100% for sure that anybody can naturally say that. I will say this: he's more experienced than Nate Kibble. Sikorski comes to Texas with 444 career snaps played in Division I football, whereas I believe Nate Kibble was somewhere around 20 or below for his entire career at Texas. So I think he's a little bit more of a known commodity under fire. And I think that's something that Texas is looking for in this 2026 portal recruiting class. Jeff, the experience factor here is large, in my opinion, as it relates to Texas and what they're trying to do in the transfer portal.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this on the channel, talked a lot about it on Coffee and Football this morning. Offensive line, developing offensive linemen is really, really hard. So, hey, Oregon State's already done a decent amount of the legwork for Kyle Flood on this one, right? Again, a 6-game starter. He got over 400 snaps at Oregon State. And I'll just stress again, this is not the only move that Texas is going to make on the offensive line. They're still looking at guys. And, I'll reiterate this, Bobby. The Justice Haynes going to the portal, we've been stressing it, and I don't know if people just haven't been believing us or just don't want to listen or whatever the case. There are still going to be big names over the next few days and the next week that end up hitting the portal. So it's not like the staff is sitting on their hands. There's some instances where they may want to wait if they haven't needed a position instead of just taking a guy to take a guy. They may wait it out if they feel like, hey, maybe there's somebody in the portal that can really fill this need rather than, again, just taking someone to fill a roster spot.
Yeah, I was speaking to someone yesterday, Jeff, last night late, and they said they expect another 1,000 players to go into the portal by this time next Friday. This next Friday, by the way, is the last time a player can enter his name into the portal. Then they have a 48-hour window, so we won't know the final list of names probably until 10 days, like the Tuesday following next Friday would be my guess when we'll actually hear all of the names who have actually entered the portal. And by the way, the guys that finish the college football playoffs get an extra 5 days to put their names in the portal as well. We've got a couple of breaking news points here that just came up. Trinidad Chambliss, the Ole Miss quarterback who ended his Ole Miss career yesterday, was denied a 6th year of eligibility by the NCAA. He can still appeal that yet again. But as of right now, Trinidad Chambliss likely headed to the NFL, it would seem, following last night's loss to the University of Miami. Secondly, Trey Owens, former backup quarterback at the University of Texas, has committed to Arkansas State. Jerry, you, me, Rod, CJ, we all discussed this, Marcus as well, how we thought Trey Owens needed to go somewhere that he could get some snaps and get some run under his belt. Marcus, your thoughts on him going to Arkansas State?
Yeah, I think that's, what you're going to see with some of these guys, right? Especially at the quarterback position. If you're not one of those top name guys that went within, the first couple of days or just had everybody on your tail, you need to be able to go somewhere and get some reps. And so I think a place like Arkansas State that throws the ball around a lot gives Trey an opportunity to get the experience that he needs to get out there and get the reps that he needs. And if he goes out there and kills it in this environment, he could potentially bump up, the following year. So you go out there and you do everything that you can to, put some good tape out there and see where things lie. But I think it's somewhere like that is a good spot for him, right? As opposed to going somewhere else and potentially having maybe to battle for a spot or even ending up as the second person on the depth chart again.
I think it's a great decision for all those reasons. We had this discussion before. You go, if you're at a Power 4 school and you have no experience on the field, go to G5, go throw 400 passes, and if you crush it, somebody's going to pay you $1 to $2 million to go back to Power 4 football and be their quarterback. That to me, for quarterbacks that transfer, is an absolute no-brainer. If you go perform, you will make that money up and then some. You lose by going to a G5, you'll make it and then some your last couple of years or last year at the Power 4 level. I think it's a great decision by Trey Owens. On Chambliss, that guy, you know what? If he got to come back, good for him. He doesn't need to come back. That guy's going to play in the NFL. He's a gamer. He's shown it in the playoffs. That dude's going to play in the NFL. He's going to make a living playing football.
We got more questions to get to here, but first, Ed B says, "In Sark, I trust." We're breaking in here because Dylan Sikorski, offensive lineman, if you're just joining us, has committed to the University of Texas out of Oregon State. 6'4", 320 pounds. Started 6 games last year for Oregon State. He's only a redshirt freshman. Will be a redshirt sophomore next year. Pretty good pass protector, apparently, according to some stats behind the scenes. All right, going to keep going here. This one from Intomsa. You guys are working overtime on these updates, keeping me on the edge of my seat. Thank you. Hookem from Honolulu, Hawaii. Thank you for your super chat. We appreciate it greatly. And we are working hard to try to bring you guys all the news that we can. To reiterate, just so everybody has this, if you haven't been listening from the start, Texas has multiple visitors on campus currently. They include Wendell Gregory, a defensive end out of Oklahoma State, Cade Uluwave, a linebacker from Cal, Mikey Bennett, a offensive lineman from Yale, Dylan Sikorski, an offensive lineman from Oregon State. And Jerry, am I missing anybody? Oh, Justin Cryer, the linebacker that y'all broke the news on, a linebacker from Florida State, also on campus. Texas also expecting more visitors this weekend, including Raheem Biles, the linebacker from Pitt. But I am told there will be more than just him coming in. So keep that up in your thoughts. Jerry, latest on Cade Uluwave from King Kunta. He wants to know.
Yeah, I mean, expected. Look, all this stuff can change. Expected to make a visit or two, right? Michigan's being talked about as a visit. We'll see if there's anything after that. For him, he went in with the no contact tag, but as we said, that doesn't mean he just absolutely knows where he's going. That just means he's not going to be open to anybody recruiting him that he's going to choose. And normally, sometimes it's one visit and sometimes there's more than one. And in this case, as of right now, he's scheduled to make other visits. We'll see where that goes.
All right, this one, are portal kids, this from Nathaniel Loper, are portal kids going to be on campus Monday and Tuesday? Heard that was a dead period, Jerry.
Yeah, I think I need to get the dates on that. That's the college coaches convention. So that is possible. That is possible. That's true. Let me see if I can look that up.
While you do that, the AFCA coaches convention usually asks for a dead period so that they can perform their annual convention. They get really sensitive about people having to recruit during that. I'm thinking they're going to have to get over that sensitivity because it no longer fits with the portal itself and portal window. But I do believe it is going to be a dead period at some point next week. I don't know exactly when. Jerry can look that up for us.
That's correct.
Joshua Rainier.
12th through the 14th is the 12th through the 14th is dead. So that'd be Monday through Wednesday.
Monday. So no campus visits allegedly Monday through Wednesday of next week. Doesn't mean you can't have decisions. And by the way, a dead period means kids can't be on campus. It doesn't mean you can't have communication, including email, signatures, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. Our portal kids, this is from Josh Raina. What did they say about Kobe Black playing time as well? CJ's made a pretty good analogy here. I think they want the money they spend to be on the field and not on the sidelines. And Kobe Black did not play a bunch this year until really late in the year. Now, he played okay when he played. Had a big interception against A&M. Is that, guys, I mean, y'all take this subject, each of you, I think, because it's indicative to me of Texas wanting to pay for production more than let's see what happens with Bo Masco coming in from Rutgers. I think that pushed Kobe Black to me. Maybe I'm not starting next year, guys. Yep. Jerry, your thoughts?
Look, I think that's a big part of it, right? Is Bo Masco is a honorable mention, third team All Big 12 corner who started 2 years in the Big 12 and is a proven really good football player. Well, I think the players always know, okay, well, they're probably saying, okay, Cade Phillips has one spot locked now. Now here comes this guy. Warren Roberson was getting more playing time. I think that one's and what's going to happen with Grayson Littleton. So I think if you sit there and read the tea leaves, you're like, ooh, okay. Is it better for me to go start somewhere? And the other part of that is, do you have more earning power somewhere else that may need a starter?
Yep. Yeah. Or if he would be a starter.
Yeah.
Right. Got to be honest. I'm not sure he would be. Marcus, what do you think?
I was gonna say the other piece of that equation is familiarity with Mark Orfe already, right? So if you're Kobe Black and you're looking around, you're looking at the room, you probably get a sense that it's more likely that he's going to get those, early reps to prove himself than not. So I think, when you look at someone that has that kind of all conference ability from somewhere like the Big Ten that has put out a lot of really good corners over the years. That's something that it's kind of hard to ignore. And so again, as much as this is a coaching decision, I think it's probably also one on Kobe's side where he's like, look, I want to have the chance to be able to go somewhere and try to start right away. And it's probably a little bit less likely that was going to happen, especially with Cade Phillips playing the number of reps that he did. You probably kind of go ahead and pencil him in on one side, Masco on the other, and then see how some of the others shake out, unless they're potentially looking at kicking Littleton out.
I want to, Jeff, I'm going to set you up with this one because it kind of ties into what we're talking about here. Most of our guys, and this Hitman with authority, most of our guys are going to lesser schools looking for playing time. Arkansas State, Colorado, Purdue, Oklahoma. Doesn't that speak to what's going on in Austin more than anything? Not always a bad thing to have some attrition. Good job as always. Thank you, Hitman. Your thoughts on that? Because I certainly agree with him to an extent.
Yeah, I think part of it is, look, if those guys were making a number last year, and obviously this year conditions are changing with rev share, if the number can't be agreed upon, I think part of what Sark said in Orlando was right. Hey, if you think this is your number and we can't meet it, by all means, hey, go into the portal and see if you can find it somewhere. And I think that's been the case with several of these moves. And it's not personal or anything. It's just business at this point. It's almost strictly transactional. So again, I think CJ hit the nail on the head. Bobby, you just addressed it. Jerry, you talked about it too. The rev share money that they're spending, and not just rev share, the whole pot that they've got a pretty good idea of what they've got. They want it to be on the field. And if you're not going to contribute, or they don't know where you are, they can't guarantee you anything, and you can go into the portal and get it, then hey, maybe you should go into the portal and get it.
I would say, I want to add this real quick too. If you look around college football, though, from the bigger schools, guys that transfer, all those guys don't end up at another power program. So there's only so many of those scholarships that go around, and those power programs right now are in the portal themselves. So, and there's going to be guys portaling up to those programs. So I just think it's part of it. And I want to add this: there will be, and I don't know how many, but when you have this many guys that leave, there will be 3 guys more than likely that end up in the NFL. That doesn't mean Texas did a bad job with those guys. That doesn't mean what you're thinking right now, those guys weren't very good. Man, all these guys they're on a different runway path. And there's different levels to this when guys develop. There's different levels to when guys say, oh man, I got to get serious if I want to keep playing football in my life. I mean, there's so many levels to this stuff. Just because these guys transfer out, I would say this: the more guys you have transfer out that end up at Power 4 schools tells you that you're actually doing a good job, because other people still want those guys. But when you recruit 25 high school kids a year, not all of them are going to be stars. Not all of them are going to be starters. But nowadays, the potential contributors, have a chance to go somewhere else and make more money as they continue on as players.
All right, guys, this is going to do it. Special edition. We will be back again if there's any more breaking news. Dylan Sikorski has committed to the University of Texas. Offensive lineman out of Oregon State, started 6 games as a redshirt freshman. Good pass protector is the book on him. We will let you know if we hear more. Today, Texas has several visitors on campus personally. Oh, last one thing, I guess somebody snuck in the super chat. Any news on Xavier Filsaime? He posted a somewhat cryptic tweet earlier today. I still think Texas in a good situation to retain Xavier Filsaime, but no promises. This is, after all, portal madness, and that's what I wanted to talk about next. If you want to know the very latest that's going on with the University of Texas and recruiting right now, make sure you check out our website, ontexasfootball.com. While we'll break in with big-time news immediately here, there's always news going on behind the scenes, and we can't be on here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Join us at On Texas Football A lot of fun over there. People talking back and forth. Again, right now we have a special introductory offer, $1 for 1 month. That's $1 for 1 month. Come on over and join us if you would. Myself, Jerry, Jeff Howe, CJ, Marcus is over there, Rod's over there, the whole Blake Monroe's over there. The whole crew is very, very, very well having a little bit of fun with what's going on behind the scenes. All right, for you guys as well as Matt Hutchinson behind the scenes. And one last thing, Dylan Sikorski, hook 'em horns, buddy.
Hook 'em.